This is constantly the message that is coming down the pipeline for Black America. We need to celebrate criminals, but when we talk about somebody with a life and a legacy of Queen Elizabeth, well, she's white, so we better see ourselves and perceive ourselves as the victims. Nobody cares about how Black American culture has been suffering. Nobody cares about the inner city communities that have been suffering under people like George Floyd, right? The criminality that is running rampant, people that are getting arrested and released back onto the streets. Nobody cares. Nobody wants to talk about it. In fact, if you do talk about it, you're a racist, right? That's it. You're a racist. If you talk about it and you're a Black person, okay, they won't call you racist. Instead, they will call you, as they have called me, a coon, an Uncle Tom, a traitor to my race, because I have the audacity to talk about the things that are harming.
Candace Owens has made a name for herself as someone who speaks her mind, especially when it comes to issues affecting the Black community. She's known for not holding back and has been clear about calling out people or actions she thinks are harmful. Recently, Candace highlighted how Tiffany Henyard has mistreated Black residents in Dalton, continuing her stance of holding public figures accountable, even if they're part of her own community.
Hate Americans with Black skin color?
Wow. Absolutely not. I actually love Americans with Black skin color so much that I'm willing to fall on the sword 1,000 times for them to wake up and realize that we are being lied to, abused, and used by the Democrat.
Tiffany Henderson, the mayor of Dalton, has been accused by many residents, especially those from the Black community, of treating them poorly and fostering a hostile atmosphere. One of the most emotional moments came when a Black woman, who claimed she had been mistreated, spoke out against Tiffany Henderson. With tears in her eyes, she shared her painful experience and the challenges she faced.
The other assistant, being in our modes of being an assistant, we're saying stuff out loud, especially if the mayor's there, 'cause she's always doing something, so she wants to hear what we have while she's doing something or whatever. So now that assistant, she'll always say, okay, well, we got this upcoming trip. And then she said the dates, and she said May 21st, and I was like, that's my 31st birthday. I've never been there. I didn't necessarily know if I was going or not, but I definitely said, I want to make that trip. So Tiffany was, telling me, like, this is not, no trip like that. Like this, we're going down there for business. And I said, well, I definitely understand, but I still never been in the vicinity of Vegas. So even if I could just be there, and it's my birthday, I would still feel good. But I was like, how hard I work anyway, so I'm not even worried about that. And that was the conversation.
Tiffany Henyard has faced multiple accusations of mistreating Black residents, leaving many in the community feeling disrespected and marginalized, leading to increasing frustration.
She waited 20 years and she waited 30 years. I knew if it was ever happened to me, absolutely not, that I knew justice needed to come immediately. And that's why. So it might seem like it's a now for you, but this has been a long journey for me already. And I've already put my suffering aside, I put my depression aside. I've worked on all that. I did my praying on if I should be sitting in front of you today saying my story. And I'm ready. That's why now. And I'm not just fighting for me no more. I realize that I'm fighting for every woman that's been in my position. I'm fighting for a sister that doesn't have a voice. I'm fighting for a sister that's scared. I'm fighting for a sister who doesn't have a sister. I'm fighting, not just for me.
Her story powerfully reflects the community's broader discontent, highlighting the alleged misconduct and lack of support under Henyard's leadership.
Tiffany hired a former campaign worker as a code enforcement officer, despite the fact that he had been convicted of a horrible offense against a minor. In what appears to be a blatant effort to discourage someone from running against her, Tiffany successfully proposed a bill to cut the salary from her position to $25,000 a year if someone else defeated her in the next election to be held in 2025. If Tiffany is re-elected, her salary would be unchanged. The mayor used taxpayer money to create personalized billboards in the village. They prominently featured her name and image, even though there was no reason they should. Tiffany hired a former campaign worker as a code enforcement officer, despite the fact that he had been convicted of a horrible offense against a minor. In what appears to be a blatant effort to discourage someone from running against her, Tiffany successfully proposed a bill to cut the salary from her position to $25,000 a year if someone else defeated her in the next election to be held in 2025. If Tiffany is re-elected, her salary would be unchanged. The mayor used taxpayer money to create personalized billboards in the village. They prominently featured her name and image, even though there was no reason they...
This has resulted in a wave of negative emails and voicemails aimed at Henyard, expressing the community's frustration with her leadership. Many residents feel ignored and allege that she prioritizes her own interests over their needs.
People that have been threatening you.
That's correct.
Some of them are, do you mind if I read?
Sure, you can share.
Because I know this could be triggering. I don't know how you feel about this, but okay, you're a effing crook, you ugly bee. You will be in prison soon, so get that nasty, greasy black vagina ready for Shaniqua. The inmates will love to have orgies with the racist, crooked mayor. All right, to move on to some more, hey, grifter, maybe learn to effing speak English sometime. Your grammar is atrocious, but I guess that's what can be expected from a mayor who looks like you do. I mean, these aren't even the worst ones, by the way. I just want to say there's a lot more in here. Somebody called you a despicable, savage, monkey, N-word bee, and told you better watch your back. And then I did hear some of the voicemails. One just says, F all you goddamn N-words. And you are the first black woman to be in this position.
Yes, in both positions.
In both positions, and the youngest.
And the youngest, yes.
So did this start happening once the news was reporting on what, and we're going to get into what the news has been reporting, but did this start happening before the news reported on you or after?
This happened when the news started reporting on.
Residents and trustees often describe Tiffany Henyard as arrogant and self-centered, acting as if she's above others and treating them poorly. These claims point to a pattern of behavior where she ignores the input and needs of those around her, focusing only on her own views. Trustees have stated that since Henyard took office, she has made unilateral decisions without proper oversight or community involvement, negatively affecting Dalton.
Tiffany Henyard appears to be a big fan of herself. She has her own website where she refers to herself as the People's Super Mayor. She has also used this title in social media posts. On her website, Tiffany wrote about how, after she was elected as the mayor of Dalton, there was much fanfare during the swearing-in ceremony. It was attended by dignitaries from across the state of Illinois. Tiffany mentioned how she was the first black supervisor of Thornton Township. She wrote how this move sent shockwaves across the state of Illinois. Item number 2, Tiffany is active on social media and has made several posts which can be described as grandiose, attention-seeking, tacky, creepy, and demonstrating a profound lack of insight. For example, she indicated that God chose her, and she referred to herself as God's favorite. On Instagram, she declared that she was the most powerful woman in the Southland of Chicago. In one post, Tiffany was featured with a dog wearing jewelry. The expression on the dog's face appears to communicate, how was this woman elected mayor? In early January 2024, Tiffany accepted a community service award saying, quote, I am Martin Luther King, I am Rosa Parks, and I am Harriet Tubman, unquote. During a meeting later that same month, she said,
Tensions between Tiffany Henyard and the Dalton trustees have escalated significantly. Trustees accuse her of neglecting her responsibilities and mismanaging village affairs. In response, Henyard claims that the trustees have refused to pay bills since her election, suggesting it is part of a broader effort to push her out of office.
It's still on our books. Until we release the check and pay the bill, we still count it as a deficit.
So you're saying, so you have the money to pay the bills.
Correct.
You're saying your fellow trustees won't pay the bills.
Correct.
Why?
I'll give you prime example, just to make me look bad. I'll give you prime example. My job is to govern. That's what a mayor does. I'm an executive branch, they're the legislative branch. When I go get money and bring back to our community, many grants, they refuse to pay things for residents. I created a roof and window program. They would not vote to pay the vendors to fix the roof and windows for our seniors and our veterans. Why? The money's there, it's in a bank account, you can see it. Why would they not pay the bill? So therefore, that program got on hold. These are things I created when I became the mayor of Dalton. But yet, people don't see your vision. It's people trying to take over government, and I won't allow it.
When all of this began, this not paying of the city's bills?
So it's funny you asked that question. That's a great question. All this turmoil started right when I became mayor. So that showed me right then and there that the plot was to remove me from office. Right in the beginning, I wasn't even in office for a good month before my board started to sit here and start to try to remove me from my seat that I earned and won by 82%, remind you, 82%, taking out an incumbent that had the seat prior to me.
So when your fellow trustees, let's say Kiana Belcher, she's quoted as saying mismanagement of funds. You're saying, no, it's not mismanagement, they're just not paying bills.
That's correct.
The trustees, however, have countered these claims, stating that Henyard's leadership is responsible for the financial disarray and that she often bypasses standard procedures to push her own agenda.
4 days ago, she fired the chief of police because he was investigating all of those credit card receipts and all those claims of her funneling taxpayer dollars into her privately owned cancer awareness charity, which you cannot do. And in one of those investigations that the chief of police was investigating, it stated here in this tweet, and shout out to this person for tweeting this, they said Mayor Tiffany Henyard is one of the most corrupt ever. She actually hired a child. She overpays her police officers to be her security, which what do you need that much security for? You're a mayor of a town with about 20,000 people. One of the officers was paid $13,000 in 2 weeks for 300 hours of overtime. Because nobody believes that. Nobody believes that anybody worked 300 hours of overtime. So this has to be investigated because it looks like these numbers were being padded. So the chief of police, or the ex-chief of police, had his attorney investigate these claims, and they're standing behind them that there were allegations of corruption, and he was investigating them. Now I'm going to do a little bit more digging because I think there's a lot more to know about this Tiffany Henyard story because anybody who shows up to a city town hall meeting dressed like Nino Brown is definitely doing something that they shouldn't be doing.
Adding to the increasing grievances, a trustee has publicly accused Tiffany Henyard of covering up a sexual assault case during her tenure as mayor. These allegations claim that Henyard did not address or highlight the incident, prompting concerns about her commitment to justice and transparency.
That could have been any one of us. That could have been either trustee. That could be anybody. That's somebody's daughter, and you have violated this young lady. That's like a punch in the gut. To do something as you have done or allegedly have done and to not speak about it, to cover it up. How could you live with yourself? How? I couldn't live with myself even knowing that something like that happened and I didn't say anything about it. Here's a person,
Let me ask you this. Could this young lady said she went to the mayor and loses her job? Could something have been done differently by the mayor who she looked up to, this young lady?
Absolutely. She herself should have launched an investigation. This happened on your watch. You should have taken action immediately. Absolutely. You have a daughter. Do you not feel anything? Absolutely. To do that, you have a daughter. You have an obligation to this village. You are the leader. To let something like that go by and not get involved. You are just as much
that something like this has taken place. It's disheartening right now, and it's disheartening on so many levels. Regardless of what we're going through in politics, this is somebody's livelihood. This is someone that, oh my God, I'm just appalled. This is a woman that I don't know, what has happened, but just even these allegations and for someone to have the leader that's in our community that always speaks on black women to cover up something like this is outrageous. I'm furious. I can't believe this. I'm furious.
Tiffany Henyard is frequently described by residents and trustees as arrogant and self-centered, acting as if she is superior to others and treating them poorly. These allegations indicate a consistent pattern where she ignores the input and needs of those around her, choosing to focus solely on her own views without seeking consultation.
Now, before we go even further, just so you have a bit of an idea of some of the antics that Tiffany will pull off, this is her at a local public meeting dressed up as an infamous criminal kingpin named Nino Brown.
Nobody knows something. Don't nobody know nothing? Yeah. Nobody? Trustee? Nobody knows something.
As were mounting and as questions were not being answered, the town voted on a unanimous resolution to probe and look at some of those financial details. And Tiffany herself, who, by the way, calls herself the super mayor, vetoed that resolution. So not only does she serve as the mayor of this village, she's also Thornton Township supervisor. Now, she is being accused of historic historic misuse of taxpayer funds to the sum of, first of all, using the local police as her own personal security detail, costing up to $1 million. She's also being accused of misusing taxpayer money to pay for lavish trips for herself and collecting a combined salary with the supervisor position and her mayor position of $287,000. This is a small town in Illinois, 20,000 people.
Several residents of Dalton have claimed that their business licenses and other important documents have been intentionally delayed or denied because they refused to contribute to the Tiffany Henyard Foundation.
They're also requesting an investigation by the FBI, and some of these allegations, or accusations I should say, are so serious that even some local businesses are saying that their licenses and things that they need are not getting renewed after they made decisions to cut off ongoing financial donations to her campaign. So it's a pretty big deal, and this is one of the things that she was questioned on. She has this foundation, a cancer research foundation, that people are also wanting an investigation into, as she has not disclosed how she has used taxpayer money in that foundation.
Tiffany Henyard recently made headlines with a controversial proposal concerning the mayor's salary. She allegedly stated that if she were reelected, the mayoral pay would stay at $100,000. However, if another candidate won, the salary would drop to $40,000. This move has faced widespread criticism as an attempt to manipulate her position for personal gain, ensuring her financial benefit while discouraging potential challengers.
I learned about Tiffany today when I read an article about the ordinance she's putting in that states if she loses her re-election to be mayor, the mayor's salary will be decreased from $225,000 to $25,000. But if she wins, it will stay the same. When I read that, I realized I had to learn everything about this woman. And as it turns out, the 90% pay cut doesn't even crack the top 10 of the most corrupt things that this woman has done in a short year that she's been the mayor of Dalton, Illinois. If you're on a highway near Dalton, Illinois, you will see billboards of Tiffany Henyard. These are all billboards that are paid for by taxpayers, and they advertise things such as senior services and free fresh produce. But Tiffany always puts her face and name in huge letters opposed to the actual thing it's advertising in order to get her name out there. And as I said, this is all paid for by taxpayers. Tiffany recently went to Las Vegas with a few of her friends to attend a conference. While there, she spent all of this money on airfare, hotels, and then money at restaurants like Ruth Chris's, Cafe Hollywood, Hot and Juicy Crawfish. And this was all paid for by the taxpayers because she was there attending a conference. She also spent a fair amount of money at Bubba Gump's shrimp company, and then she brought the hat that she bought.
Henyard has been accused of using taxpayer money to support her personal luxuries, including business class trips that seem to offer no real benefit to Dalton residents. This alleged misuse of public funds has angered many who feel that their hard-earned tax dollars are being wasted on Henyard's personal lifestyle instead of being reinvested in the community.
Being questioned about the money she spent in Las Vegas. Afterwards, Tiffany was asked by the local news station about her time in Las Vegas. I just want to remind you before you watch this clip, this is not a show. This is real life. This is not comedy. It's not a skit.
You didn't go to Las Vegas? What is that?
No comment.
You don't know if you were in Las Vegas?
Of course I do.
Were you?
It's not paid by them.
Did you fly first class to Las Vegas?
Any other questions?
She's also recorded a music video with taxpayer dollars. It's not even her own song. It's just her singing over it. This is a legit comedy show. I can't wait for the documentary about this. Look at her with the cops. And the crazy thing is, all of the things I've mentioned, it's only the tip of the iceberg with her. I could do a 10-part series on Tiffany. She is the most iconic politician running right now. She just does what she wants, and then she just keeps it moving. She goes, I'm gonna keep spending taxpayer dollars. I'm gonna have to do a 10-part series on this woman because
Residents have expressed concerns about Tiffany Henyard's alleged misuse of police resources. She is accused of employing Dalton police officers for her personal security, including full-day escorts to other cities, which hinders officers from effectively carrying out their duties to protect the community.
But when I did come in, we did have a deficit, so let them speak to that. And then when I came, we cleaned it up to a surplus. So I just want to show you the things that we actually do, and we do invest our money here. So we make interest on our money. It's another way that we can fund programs that we have. We make $50,000 to $60,000 in interest. Little do people know. People don't talk about my educational background. I graduated from Robert University, Sigma Beta Delta, top sorority of my class, but no one talks about my educational background. They just look at how youthful I am and not understand that I really can lead. I am a business owner, I have a business background, so that's how I run the township with my business background. So I thank all those that do believe in me and what we have accomplished here at the township, but I'm always getting my accolades when I'm here, because I want y'all to give me my flowers by giving me your flowers.
The trustees have not shied away from publicly confronting Tiffany Henyard about the various allegations against her during meetings. They have accused her of mismanagement, neglecting community needs, and engaging in unethical behavior.
You have a significant security detail. First of all, how large is your police department in Dalton, and what is your security detail?
So we have about 45 officers in our village. My security is warranted due to the fact of threats and things of that nature, but what people are not stating is it's in our CBA. That's our collective bargaining agreement. That's our union contract. So it comes with the seat. That's what people are not saying. I didn't make this up. I didn't just create this and say, I want security.
We're not looking to necessarily cut stuff out. However, if you're going to make a decision to do things that benefit you, the administration, rather than help the people, that's your decision. We're not saying that. For the record.
Trustee, that is not true. That is not true. You guys have been targeting the events and all the things from the last couple of months. The last board meeting about 2 months ago, you guys didn't even vote to pay anybody or any service. So stop it. You then put together this ordinance to say you want to stop the monthly events that we do every single month. So when you're going to read it in its entirety so people understand. Don't take one sentence out, because if you go and you break it down, you will see exactly what the Board of Trustees are trying to do. Because if they wanted events to continue, for instance, we had to taste of...
That's a wrap for today's video. Thanks for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for our next update.